Alright, let's take a look at how to establish the identity using the sum and difference formulas. So here I have the identity cosine of pi minus an angle theta is negative cosine of theta. So just like with any establish the identity problem, you start by picking a side, and usually you pick the more complicated side. It's usually a good idea to pick the side where you have the difference of two angles inside a trig function, or the sum of two angles inside a trig function, because the first step then after that is very easy. You just write down the formula for that. So that's what we're going to do here. So let's write down the left-hand side cosine of pi minus theta. Okay, well this is cosine of one angle minus another angle, so let's just use our difference formula for cosine. This is the alpha and theta is the beta in that formula. So this becomes cosine of the first, cosine of pi, times cosine of the second angle, theta, minus, no, plus cosine, you have the opposite sign. So cosine of pi times cosine of theta plus sine of pi times sine of theta. Okay, now what can we do with this? Well, notice cosine of pi, that's some number. We can actually find what that number is. Cosine of pi is negative 1. Cosine of theta, can't do anything with that. I'll just leave that as cosine of theta. What about sine of pi? Well, sine of pi is 0. So it's 0 times sine of theta. 0 times sine of theta is just 0. Negative 1 times cosine of theta is negative cosine of theta. And there we have it. We started with one side, we ended with the other side. So we have established the identity. Check mark. So that's not too difficult. They do get a little more complicated. Here, let me show you one where you have just two unknown angles. So we can't do any trick about actually plugging things in here. But again, this isn't too bad. We're just going to start with the left-hand side, simplify until we get to the right-hand side. So let's write down sine of alpha plus beta divided by sine of alpha times cosine of beta. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep my fraction. The denominator is going to stay exactly the same. I will have sine of alpha times cosine of beta. But my numerator, I'm going to use the sum formula for sine and rewrite that. So the sum formula says you do sine of the first angle, alpha, times cosine of the second angle, beta. Sine with a plus, that would be a plus between them. So plus cosine of the first angle, cosine of alpha, times sine of beta. Okay, now this whole thing is being divided by sine of alpha. I cannot just cancel out the sine of alpha cosine beta because I have this plus between the two terms on top. But I can break the fraction into two parts. So I will have one fraction with denominator sine alpha times cosine beta, and the numerator sine alpha times cosine beta. That's this first fraction here. Then plus a second fraction, same numerator, sine alpha times cosine beta, same denominator, and now the numerator will be the second half of the old numerator, so that is cosine of alpha times sine of beta. And now actually I'm very close to being done. Sine alpha over sine alpha is 1. Cosine beta over cosine beta is 1. So this whole fraction, whole first fraction, becomes just 1. It's something over itself. Plus cosine alpha over sine alpha. That is cotangent of alpha. Sine beta over cosine beta. That is tangent of beta. And 1 plus cotangent alpha, tangent beta, that's what I was looking for. So I started with one side, got to the other side, check mark. And that's how you establish the identity using the sum and difference formulas. Hope this has helped. Thanks for watching.